All right, so we'll just do a little bit of standing up today. So take your feet about the width of the outer hips apart. Just going to do a few breaths here. So draw your ribs in and down towards your hip bones. As you inhale, take the arms widen up and breathe out. Really stretch wide through the fingers and bring them down as you exhale. Just do 2 more of these. The ribs come in and down as you inhale, wide into the ribs, and exhale, draw them down. And one more time. All right, we're just going to pulse the breath a little bit. So palms forward, breathe in, bring the arms up, short exhale. Breathe in, come up. Just press the breath out, squeeze the buttocks up, let it go. 2 more. And breathe in, bring the arms all the way up and exhale, let the arms down. Just someone else coming on. All right, so just bringing your hands onto the hips. We're just going to connect into the core or the center here, feet just a little apart. So before we move, we're just going to hold the belly steady. You can put your hand on there if you like. Breathe in wide into the rib cage. And as you breathe out, feel you lift from the pubic bone to the navel and draw the ribs in and down towards the hip bones. Your spine stays still, so does your pelvis. So the belly steadies as you inhale, widen into your rib cage. And as you breathe out, feel like you lift from the pubic bone to the navel and the ribs come in and down towards the pelvis. So feel this connection here, just like you do when you're lying on the floor. The spine is in its neutral position. Now let's see if we can add some movement here. So the hands can stay on the hips. As you breathe out, draw up, draw the ribs in and down, and just raise the left heel and then lower it down. Find the connection through the center and raise the right heel and lower. So keep yourself feeling much in the center. Find this connection, just raise the heel and lower. Let's do 2 more after this one. So the most important focus here, which is why the movement is small, is finding this connection through your torso. All right, and lifting the right heel, lower it down. So let's add a little more challenge to that. So you're going to sink into the right foot, slightly bend the knee, bring the left toes onto the floor. So just feel your hip bones are nice and even. Take a breath in, belly steady, ribs widen. As you exhale, draw in and up, ribs come in and down, and just extend the lower leg forward, and then bring the toes back to the floor. Exhale, ribs come in and down, pubic bone lifts up to sternum, and the toes come back. You're going to do 3 more. The most important thing here is the connection through your torso, getting these deep muscles to engage and connect the ribs to the pelvis, which is why the movement is small. Good. Bring that leg back and put the foot down onto the floor. So slight bend in the left knee, foot into the floor, and the right knee's bent. Hands on your hips, even up those hip bones. Feel the back of your left thigh drawing in. So you're going to breathe in, and as you breathe out, draw in and up, ribs coming in down towards the hips, and the lower leg glides out. If you need to, you just slide the toe on the floor, otherwise it hovers. Breathe in to come back. Feel the inner thigh on this left leg. Get the ball of the foot and the big toe down, and really draw the pubic bone up and the ribs in and down. Feel like they want to connect to each other. You can do 1 more here. And breathe in, bring the leg back in and down to the floor. Just bend into the knees and take the hips side to side. And then imagine you're standing in a barrel. Take the hips over to the right side, bring the pelvis forward, sweep it around to the left and around the back. And just let the pelvis circle in the center. Shoulders stay nice and wide. And then we'll go around the other way. Swing around towards the left, to the front, over to the right and back. And just do one more here. Good, come back to center. So I'm going to do some leg glides. So feet together, come down into a little squat, hands onto your hips. Just breathing here, all of the foot down. As you breathe out, feel like you draw up pubic bone to navel and ribs, reach down towards that pubic bone. Now as you breathe out, hold that and glide the left leg out to the side and glide it in. So the belly stays steady. The inhale goes into the back and the sides of the ribs. And as you breathe out, those ribs draw in and down and you hollow up a little more. Hold steady through your torso and just let the leg glide. I'm going to do one more here. Bring it in, come all the way to stand. Give your hips a little shake. And then the other side. So down into a little squat, find this connection, pubic bone and ribs come in and down towards each other. Lighten the right toes on the floor. Hold this connection as the leg glides in and out. So because you're holding this nice and strong and the belly is supporting that lower spine, the breath has to come into the back and the sides of the ribs. And do two more here. Keep that left leg really still. These ribs reaching down towards your hip bones. Great. And come all the way up. Give your shoulders a nice big roll around. Loosen through your hips. Let your spine just move. Be like a wave. Okay, we're going to do one more here. So we're going to go into some roll downs. So heels under the sit bones, bring your weight forward into your toes. So you want to find the same connection through your torso. Lean forward. As you breathe out, draw the pubic bone to the navel and the bottom ribs reach towards those hip bones. Excuse my dog. And roll down. Hang out at the bottom to breathe in and exhale. Pull the tail down. Lift the pubic bone to the navel and the bottom ribs reach down towards those hips as you stack all the way up through the spine. Let's do two more. Weight into the toes. Feel that lift, pubic bone to navel, bottom ribs curl and reach down towards those hip bones. Keep the weight towards the toes and then the tail goes down. Lift, pubic bone to navel, ribs reaching to hips and stack all the way back up. Great, do one more. So focus on this connection in your abdominals. Lean forward. Pubic bone lifts up to navel. Bottom ribs reach down towards it. And you find the spine just naturally rounds over. Tail down, lift up. Pubic bone to navel, ribs. Reach them to your hips. And stack all the way up. Shoulders glide into place. Woohoo, well done. Let's lay down onto your backs. So coming down, just wriggle around. Find your neutral position here. Just do 4 or 5 pelvic tilts, just allowing the small of the back to sink into the floor. Actually, to start with, let them be really loose. Just feel where the body wants to rock to. It might want to come almost all the way up into a bridge. Sometimes that's just release through the spine. So just loosely rock, not much precision. And then start to refine your movement. As the spinal muscles settle, start to let the buttocks and the thighs stay soft and really just feel those lumbar vertebrae finding their way to the floor and feel that slight depression of the belly and then roll back to the tailbone. Just do 1 or 2 more, really refining the movement. Start to feel the back of the ribs, the bottom of the back rib cage sinking into the floor. And then eventually pause in your neutral. So bottom of the back ribs down, front ribs down. Keep those front ribs down. You can put your hands on them and float the right leg to a 90. And then lower it back down to the floor. So the left foot glides out a little and then floats up as the ribs pull down. And then lower the leg back down to the floor and the foot slightly glides in. Right foot glides out and lifts. So once again, find connections through your torso. Feel that draw up of the pubic bone to the navel and the ribs reach in and down towards the pubic bone. And the leg starts to glide up and down really easily. Do one more. Pubic bone draws up to sternum, ribs reach down to pubic bone. And lower the legs down to the floor. Let's go to arms. Take them down beside you. Feel wide across your shoulders. Reach through the fingertips. As you bring the arms up, feel the back ribs press or sink into the floor. Lift the shoulders as the back ribs sink down and lower them. You're still in your neutral here. Lift the shoulders. See if you can feel the weight of the rib cage all the way down towards the bottom ribs. Do one more here. Lift and lower. So now focus into the back of the rib cage. Keep the space of your lower back. Breathe in. On an exhale, your bottom ribs sink down and the arms arc back. Feel the shoulders down and wide. And then breathe in, arc the arms up. Do 4 more here. Keep the shoulders wide, the ribs down, and the arms arc back nice and long and straight. As you arc them back, sink deeper down into your shoulder socket. And do 2 more here. Feel the pubic bone draw up to the sternum and the ribs come down towards the pubic bone and the bottom back ribs sink into the floor. Bring the arms back up. This time, as you arc the right arm back, float the left leg up. And then bring them back to where you started. Pubic bone draws to sternum, ribs reach in and down, right leg lifts, left arm floats. And lower back down. Alternate sides, really go for connection. Keep those back ribs heavy in the floor. Little space of the lower back. Pelvis really still. Do 1 more each side. Pubic bone up to sternum, ribs reach down. The back stays still and steady, resting on the same spots that are connected to the floor. And bring the arms up, legs down to the floor. Take a breath in and exhale. Feel the back ribs in the floor as you arc the arms back. Pause and then circle them around within the shoulder sockets and bring them back up. Back of the shoulders heavy. Arc them back, feeling the back ribs in the floor. Pause and then circle them around. So maintain those back ribs heavy and still in the floor. Arc back to where you can keep the ribs down and the shoulders wide, and then circle. You can do 1 more this way. Feel the pubic bone towards the sternum and the ribs in and down. Bring the arms around up to the ceiling and change direction. Bring the arms down. Hold connection through the torso as you circle the arms and bring them back up to the top. Feel the width across the upper back and sink deep into those shoulder sockets as your arms go behind you, not lifting the shoulders. Ribs really sink down as the arms come back and you sink down into the shoulder sockets and bring the arms back up to the top and rest them down to the floor. So nice heavy sacrum, ribs down, float the right leg to 90. And going into a femur arc, pubic bone draws up, ribs reach down, arc the leg down. We're going to alternate between a femur arc and a single leg stretch. So extend the leg out, really sink those ribs down and bring the leg in. Femur arc, connect, pubic bone and sternum, ribs down, float the leg up, extend the leg out long. Really feel how these ribs have got to come down so the back ribs don't lift. Do 1 more on this side, 1 more set. And last one, extend the leg out long, bring it in and arc it back down to the floor. Feel how you're still resting in those same Positions on the back, ribs down, pubic bone to sternum as you float the left leg. Keep the right angle of the knee and arc the thigh away. Draw up, belly skin towards the ribs, ribs down. And then extend the leg away. Really feel these ribs sink down, or the back bottom ribs press into the floor. Keep alternating between the two. Go into your back space. Feel the rib cage down into the floor, the little space of the lower back, and the center of the sacrum heavy in the floor. Feel that stay the same the whole time. Got one more set. And single leg stretch, sending it out long. Bring the leg in and lower it down to the floor. Going into double legs, ribs down. Let's go to a slide imprint. So slightly bringing the small of the back towards the floor. Float one leg, bring the knee past the hip. Now really keep the ribs down and the small of the back towards the floor as you lift the left. Feet and knees together. So take a breath in as you breathe out. Pubic bone to sternum, ribs down, arc the legs away in a double femur arc, and then roll them up. Feel the back space. As you arc those thighs away, feel the bottom of the rib cage pull down and the small of the back draws down towards the floor. Keep your shoulders wide, don't let them lift. And go deeper through the belly. Really draw that pubic bone towards your sternum. Feel length through your lower spine. Make sure your thighs aren't grabbing. If they are, bring the knees in a little further and don't go as far, and really sink the belly skin above the pubic bone to the navel. Last one. Breathe and bring them in, and exhale, lower one leg to the floor and then the other. So interlink the hands behind the head, cup the base of the skull, and just lift the elbows off the floor. To feel the sacrum heavy, start to peel up the head into your chest lift. Lift each vertebrae one at a time, sinking the bottom ribs, pressing them into the floor, and then roll back down. Maintain that slight sense of space under your lower back. Lift the base of the skull, press the bottom of the rib cage into the floor, and roll each vertebrae down. So find even deeper connection through these upper vertebrae. Find length and space. Keep the space under the chin. Leave the elbows wide. Feel those bottom ribs really sink into the floor. Last two. When you get to the bottom vertebrae, see if you can just lift a tiny little bit more through it. And then roll each vertebrae down nice and heavy. Last one, peel the head, feel each vertebrae as it peels up. Keep the sacrum heavy, the buttocks soft, and then just a tiny little lift more without tilting your pelvis. Roll back down to the floor. Take the arms and take them down beside you. Set up for bridging, heels a comfortable distance from your sit bones and fist width apart. Take a breath in here. Keep the back ribs down in the floor as you start to roll up through the small of the back. Tailbone peel, squeeze the buttocks. Keep the back ribs down as heavy as you can until they just lift one at a time. Keep the ribs down, pubic bone and ribs draw towards each other. Inhale at the top and exhale nice and heavy down between the shoulder blades as you lay each vertebrae down. Feel the small of the back roll along the floor through the sacrum to the tailbone. Take a breath in and exhale. Feel as you travel up through your sacrum into the small of the back. Keep the back ribs heavy as long as you can. Really squeeze those buttocks. And then as you lift through the vertebrae, through the ribs, keep the ribs and the pubic bone drawing towards each other. Inhale at the top and then press down between the shoulder blades. Keep the buttocks squeezed as you go through the small of the back and then start to relax them as you roll along the sacrum to the tail. Do one more. Go deep. Keep the back ribs down, the as long as you can. Really squeeze those buttocks, sit bones together. And as you peel up through the upper spine, the ribs and the pubic bone draw towards each other. Shoulders are wide and heavy. And then as you roll down, keep squeezing your buttocks. Each vertebrae presses into the floor, through the small of the back, and all the way along the sacrum to the tailbone. Just going to pause here. Put your hands onto the belly, or just give those buttocks a rest for a moment. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, draw the pubic bone to the sternum, ribs down, and take each leg out to the side in a butterfly. And then keep that belly firm as you bring the legs back in. So draw pubic bone to sternum, ribs down as you open. And then maintain that connection as you draw them in. Let's do 2 more here. Feel the ribs really reaching down to the pelvis. And that belly skin drawing in and up above the pubic bone to the navel, to the ribs. Last one. And roll the legs back in. Take the arms back down beside you. You're going to do some bridge variations. So start to roll through the sacrum into the small of the back. The back ribs are heavy. Squeeze the buttocks. And then lift each vertebrae through the upper spine one at a time. Ribs and pubic bone reaching towards each other. Keep your hips nice and even here. Press down through the right foot and squeeze your right buttock. Raise the left heel and lower it. Push down through the left foot and raise the right heel and lower. Just to alternate sides. As you push down through the foot, feel the buttock and the back of the thigh draw in towards the bones. Do 1 more each side. Keep the pubic bone and the ribs reaching towards each other. Good. And then roll down through the spine. Really sink each vertebrae through the small of the back. And the buttocks release as you roll through the sacrum. Going to come up again into the small of the back. As you lift through thoracic spine, ribs and pelvis reach towards each other. Press through the right foot. Once again, just lift the heel or float the left leg to 90. Keep your hips even. And then flow the leg back down. Push through the foot, squeeze the buttock. Roll the right leg up and roll it down. Push through the foot. 1 more each side. Keep the ribs sinking down. It'll stop you arcing your back. Lower the leg down. Reach through the tailbone and roll down smoothly through the spine. Bring the small of the back into the floor and then let the buttocks relax as you roll down to the tailbone. Very nice. Bring those legs into the chest, 1 hand on each knee. Just round into the small of the back and rock side to side. And then hands on knees and take the legs around in a circle, circling around that lumbar spine. And then take the legs around the other way. And take the feet down to the floor. Just coming into some pelvic circles here. Heels out from sit bones. Find your neutral. Roll up the sacrum, bringing the small of the back into the floor till you come behind the navel. Keep the knees in center, tip the pelvis over to the right. Roll down into the right buttock, across the tailbone, to the left buttock, up the left side of the waist and across the behind the navel. To the right side, down into the buttock, across the tailbone to the left, up the left side and around behind the back of the waist. See if you can keep the knees fairly much in center. They go forward and back. And circle the pelvis around. Leave your shoulders heavy on the floor. Do 1 more this way. Great exercise for releasing the sacroiliac joint. Come back down to the tailbone and then come up the sacrum, small of the back, down into the floor to the navel. This time tip the hips to the left, roll down into the left buttock, across the tailbone to the right buttock, up the right side, and around behind the navel to the left, down into the buttock, tailbone, buttock, and up the right side. So allow the knees to go forward and back, but not side to side. As you come up and around the back of the waist, go deep into the belly, pubic bone up towards the sternum. And do one more here. And come around and back through to center. All right, let's take the hands behind the head, cup the base of the skull, lift the elbows, slightly imprint the small of the back down into the floor. Ribs come down as you float one leg up. Keep the ribs down as you float the other leg. Knees in, just past your hips. Peel up into a chest lift, feeling each vertebrae. Bring the pubic bone and the ribs towards each other. Hold here, navel down, extend the right leg. Bring it in, pull the ribs down, extend the left. Bring it in, one more each way. Draw that belly skin in and up as the ribs come down. Bring the legs in and roll each vertebrae down nice and smooth. Pause, take a breath. We're going to do one more set of those. Elbows slightly lifted. Peel up the head, one vertebrae at a time as you come through thoracic spine. Ribs reach down to pubic bone. Draw the navel down as you extend one leg out and bring it in. Pubic bone draws to navel, bottom ribs reach down. One more each side. Keep space under your chin. Reach the breastbone down towards the pelvis and then roll each vertebrae down to the floor and lower the legs one at a time to the floor. Just rock the knees side to side a little. Take a few deep breaths. And reset back to center slightly into imprint, letting the small of the back sink towards the floor. Lift your elbows, long neck. Peel up the head, one vertebra at a time. Pubic bone and ribs reach towards each other. Navel down, rotate to the right. And come back to center. Hollow up, pubic bone to navel as you rotate left. Come back to center and roll each vertebrae down. Take a breath in. Exhale, peel the head. Each vertebrae lifts. Ribs reach down. Pubic bone draws to the ribs as you rotate right. Come back to center. Keep your pelvis completely still. Left. Back to center and roll each vertebrae down. Pause to take a breath. We're going to do one more here. Go deep into those abdominals. So breathe in. Exhale, peeling up. Ribs come down, pubic bone to sternum. Hold there as you rotate right. Back to center and rotate left. And back to center and roll each vertebrae down to the floor. Release the arms and take a few nice deep breaths here. All right, so we're going to go into the 100. You can have one hand behind your head or both arms long. So you can put your right hand behind, left arm long, palm can be up. You can leave the feet on the floor or sink slightly into an imprint. Draw the ribs down as you float one leg and then the other to a 90. So peel up into your chest lift. Ribs and pubic bone stay drawn together. Inhale and pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 4, 5. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Switch the hands. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more sets. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And roll back down to the floor. And lower the legs. Have a bit of a stretch here. A breather. Stretch out nice and long. All right, let's roll on to the side. So come up onto your forearm, elbow under the shoulder, bend the knees in. Fingertips on the floor, press through the elbow and lift the side of the body up. So you want to feel like you're lifting away from the floor. Just going to do a couple of breaths here. So breathe in wide to your rib cage, and as you breathe out, without moving your spine, draw up from the pubic bone to the navel and feel the ribs funnel in and down towards the pelvis. Keep the belly steady as you breathe into the rib cage. And then as you breathe out, draw up pubic bone to sternum, ribs reach in and down. So this time when you exhale, when you breathe in, raise your top leg. And then as you exhale, find that connection and extend the leg out long. Inhale, lower the leg, and exhale, zip up through the body, draw the ribs down to the hips. And inhale as you go down, and exhale as you lift. So focus more into this part. Belly stays steady as you inhale to the sides, the back of the ribs. And as you breathe out, draw up from the base and the ribs reach down to the pelvis. Doesn't matter which way the leg's going, so don't worry. Just focus into that breath. Do one more here and then pause here. Little circles forward and up and around. Now see if you can keep your focus in your breath. Draw pubic bone and sternum together. Breathe into the sides and the back of the rib cage and hold your torso really still. And then change direction of the leg. Keep these ribs coming in and down towards the pelvis. Breathe into the back space. One more here. Bend the leg in. Rest it down and slide the arm out long. So if you need to, just give that buttock a little bit of a loosen. So now we want to find the space under the bottom of the waist and send this top waist and hip, side of the hip really long, reach the tail. Once again, we're just going to breathe here. The belly stays steady-ish without grabbing it, and breathe into the sides of the ribs. And then as you breathe out, draw the pubic bone and the ribs together. Inhale, float the top leg, and exhale, find connection as you extend the leg long, flex the foot. Breathe in, tail reaches long, hold that belly steady as the leg comes forward. Point the toe, find connection as you take the leg right back. Really bring that pubic bone up. Flex and forward, belly steady. Inhale to sides, back of ribs. Point and back, pubic bone and sternum draw together. So it doesn't matter which way you're breathing, really, just find this connection. Keep those ribs down and slightly back. And start to really learn to breathe into the back of the rib cage space. Hold pubic bone and sternum together. Do one more here. And bend the leg in and rest it down. Just pummel into that buttock. All right, come back up onto the forearm. We're going to send the top leg out long. Lift the side body up. Fingertips on the floor. Actually, we're going to take the hand. So the fingertips can be on the floor or the hand goes long. So take a breath in here, and as you breathe out, zip up, pull ribs and pubic bone together. And then on your next exhale, find that connection, raise the arm and the leg, and then breathe in to go down. As you lift the limbs, draw the side of the body away from the floor. Stretch out long through the leg. Feel those ribs sinking in and down towards your pelvis. We're going to do two more. Reach through the tailbone, really draw up above that pubic bone. And last one, pubic bone to sternum. Ooh. And lower down. Come all the way down, just rest that leg forward and pummel into the buttock. Okay, let's come up and over to the other side. So take your head down the other end of the mat. And we'll start up on the forearm. So elbow and hip in line. Press through the forearm and lift through the side of the body. Just breathing here. So breathe in and exhale. Draw up, feel like you zip up and bring those ribs down. It's time, inhale, float the top leg. Exhale, find this connection, send the leg long. Keep the belly steady as you inhale, lower the leg. And exhale, draw ribs and pubic bone towards each other. And as you breathe, just find this connection. Don't worry, the leg and the breath don't sync. It doesn't matter too much to start with, it doesn't matter. Just get this connection. So as you're breathing out, feel pubic bone and ribs reaching towards each other. This time, lift, press through the elbow. If you're getting tired, slide the arm out long. Same connection in the torso. Start to circle. Hold your pelvis really still. So focus on connection rather than range. Really bring these ribs down towards your hip bones. Draw up pubic bone to sternum. And then circle the other way. The more you get this connection here, it will release the hip. And it will create space for movement. Last one. Bring the leg in and slide the arm out and rest down. Just take a moment to loosen off that buttock if you need to. And then restack the legs. So lift the bottom waist off the floor. Reach long through the waist, the side of the hip. Take a moment just to breathe here. So as you exhale, draw from the base of the body through the belly and the ribs. Come in and down towards the pelvis. Inhaling, belly steady as you raise the leg. And exhale, find connection. Send the leg long. Flex the foot. Belly steady as you inhale forward. And exhale, ribs and hips towards each other, or ribs and pubic bone. Don't let that pubic bone go back. Pull it up. Hold that connection as you come forward. And as you go back, keep the waist lifted. Really sink these ribs in and down. And the breath goes into the back and the sides of the ribs. Flex and forward. Sit down into this top sit bone. Keep these ribs in. They're going to want to let go. So draw them in and down. One more each way here. And back to center. Bend the leg in and rest it down. Relax your waist now and pummel into that buttock. Okay, let's come back up onto the forearm. Elbow under your shoulder. Stack your hips, your knees, your ankles, and then lift up through the side body. Breathe in and exhale, ribs in and down, zip up towards the ribs. Extend the leg out long. Take the arm down beside, hold connection through your torso, and then breathing in, exhale, connect in, and lift, and inhale down. So really bring those ribs in and down. Keep pressing through the forearm and the side of the body lifts. So you're really looking for that depth and precision. The shoulders stay wide, shoulder doesn't lift at all. There's lots of length from the ear, down the neck, out to the shoulder. And we're going to do one more. Ribs in and down. Lift pubic bone to navel. Bring it down, bend the leg in, and come all the way down. Just come onto that buttock. All right, before we stretch the glutes, we're just going to do a little twist through the torso. So interlink your hands behind. Top elbow comes over and down. Bring the knees up, out from the hips, and press the knees together. So we're going to inhale, bring the elbow to the ceiling. Exhale, ribs stay in and down. Find that connection between the pubic bone and the ribs as you twist and open the chest. Breathe into the stretch. And as you breathe out, draw those ribs in and down. Follow through the belly as you roll back over. Breathe in, elbow to the ceiling. Feel the pubic bone and the ribs draw towards each other as you rotate around the rib cage. Breathe into that twist and exhale. Find connection between pelvis and ribs as you roll back over. You're going to do one more. Inhale the elbow to the ceiling. Find that connection, pelvis and rib cage as you rotate. Breathe into the stretch and exhale over and back down. Good. You can roll over onto your other side or go end to end on your mat, which I'll do so you can see me. So hands into length. Stack the hips, the knees, the ankles. Just get yourself set up. So keep the knees together. Imagine you're holding a coin between the knees. And then breathe in, elbow comes to ceiling. As you exhale, find connection through your torso and just rotate around that upper spine. Breathe into the stretch and exhale, hold that connection as you come back over. Breathe in, elbow opens to the ceiling and exhale. Draw those ribs in and down towards the pelvis. Breathe into the stretch and exhale. Rotating back. And one more. Inhale, elbow to ceiling. Exhaling. Pelvis and ribs reach towards each other. Inhale into the back, into the right ribs. And exhale, draw the pelvis and the rib cage together as you roll back. Fantastic. Let's do a glute stretch here. Roll onto your back. Take the right foot up and across onto the left thigh. Toes can draw back to your knee if you need to for your ankle. Stay here if you like. Press the thigh open, hold the stretch, or rock side to side, or bring the foot off the floor. Feel your sit bones sinking down into that right buttock. Feel the back ribs come down into the floor. And rest. See if you can rest towards a neutral spine, or the small of the back goes down into the floor. Really let the tailbone, so instead of tipping up with the pelvis, sink down and reach towards the end of the mat. Take one more breath here. And then lower the legs down to the floor. Take the left foot across onto the bottom of the right thigh. Either hold here, press the thigh open, or bring the right foot off the floor. Feel free to rock side to side. As you do, you might be able to walk the sacrum down a little bit, finding a little bit more length through your lower back. And then pause. Let the tailbone start to relax down and lengthen towards the end of the mat. And feel as you breathe out, the back ribs come down into the floor. Sacrum heavy. And then breathing in, release the legs. Okay, let's come over onto the bellies. So roll over onto your bellies and bring the nose just above the floor and take the arms out into goalpost position. So elbows, make sure they're not higher than your shoulders, out from the shoulders or slightly down. Just wriggle your pelvis away, lift one leg, stretch it long, and then the other one. Chest heavy into the floor, and the tailbone tips back towards the heels. The hip bones draw up towards the ribs. We're just going to breathe here. So the belly stays steady-ish. Breathe into the sides, the back of the ribs. And as you breathe out, feel the hip bones draw up towards your ribs and your ribs close in and down towards the hips. Take a breath in, and this time exhale, find that abdominal connection. As you peel the chest up, the bottom ribs are down in the floor, reaching towards the hip bones, and the breastbone comes forward and up. Breathe in, widen your chest, and exhale. As you come down, hip bones up towards those ribs, pelvis heavy. Take a breath in and exhale. Hip bones towards the ribs. Peel up, widen the shoulders, let the breastbone reach forward. Pause to breathe, widening that chest more. And as you exhale and roll down, really reach your tailbone towards your heels. 2 more. As you exhale, come up, hip bones and ribs draw towards each other. Feel those upper back muscles working really strong around the upper spine. And then as you roll down on your exhale, hips and ribs draw towards each other. Stay, just bring it, do one more, one more. Pause on that inhale and exhale, come down. Rest the head to the side. We're just going to work with external rotation of the upper arm. So the head can rest to the side or the nose is just above the floor. So you're going to press the elbows down into the floor. As you breathe out, hips and ribs towards each other. Lengthen through your fingertips and lift the forearms and then lower. So really find connection in your abdominals. It helps. And just lift the forearms. Keep the hands long and straight out from the wrists. You might barely lift off the floor, but you'll feel your upper arm muscles. That's all you need to do. Just do 2 more. Draw those rib and hip bones towards each other. And last one. Exhale as you lift. And breathe in to go down. Let's just pause here. Relax the head. Put your arms wherever you like. If you need to rock your pelvis side to side or bend up the legs and swing them, just do so and take a few breaths here. And maybe a nice big sigh or yawn out. All right, let's just come back into dart in between. Just give those shoulders a rest. So, sorry, not dart. We'll go into pre-swimming and swimming. So the back of the hands on the floor. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, draw hip bones and ribs towards each other. Hold that as you peel the chest up slightly. And then as you exhale, pelvis and ribs towards each other. Raise the right arm, left leg, and breathe in down. Feel the pubic bone and those ribs draw towards each other as you lift the other side. The right arm, left leg, lower down, left arm, right leg. Focus on the connection through your torso. Really reach those ribs in and down and feel the skin draw up from the pelvis to the navel, connecting to the bottom ribs. Keep alternating sides. Feel the base of the skull extending. This time extend, raise all 4 limbs, just hover them. Ribs and hips together, and then little swimming legs. Draw the pubic bone up and reach the ribs in and down. Wide shoulders. Feel the back of the thighs, the legs stay long and straight. Keep finding that connection between your ribs and pubic bone. And then slowly lower everything down to the floor and bring the arms under the head. Just bend the legs up, lazily rock them out. And let's just come back into a child's pose here. So hands behind our side, the rib cage, gently lift and take the buttocks back to the heels. Just do a little rock side to side here. Soften and round through the spine and relax into your breathing. And one more last one down onto the belly. So you're going to take the arms back into goalpost. Set up your pelvis, draw the hip bones and the sternum bone towards each other, or the ribs. Peel up through the chest as you exhale, drawing those ribs and hips together. Really squeeze the buttocks, pull the tailbone back long and hover the arms. Pull the ribs and hips together as the arms go forward and back. Make sure the shoulders don't lift. Keep the tail reaching long. Do one more here and the neck long. Take the arms to the floor and roll back down, nose just above the floor. Hip bones and ribs together, tail long, heel up through the chest. Hover the arms, send them forward and back, really squeezing into the buttock creases And bringing that tailbone back, bringing the pubic bone down towards the floor. Do one more here. Bring the arms in, lower them down, and lower all the way down to the floor. He's going to roll straight over onto your backs here. And just bend the knees into the chest. Relax into your breath. Soften into the spine, especially the lower back. And relax through your throat and neck. Come back to center here. Hold the sides of the thighs. Take a breath in and exhale. Press the legs away. Peel up through the spine. And come all the way up to sitting. I'm going to pull these. That's a bit better. All right, so some assisted roll downs. So we're going to hold the sides of the thighs. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, slide your tailbone under. Zip up, pubic bone to navel, ribs sink down. Pause when the feet want to come off the floor. And then slowly roll down, letting the arms bring the legs so you're feeling each vertebrae sink down along the floor. Take a breath in and exhale. Press the legs away. Peel up through each vertebrae. Let the legs press into the hands and round you forward and stack you up. It's going to do two more. So slide the tail under. Zip up, pubic bone to navel. Bottom ribs, reach to those hip bones. When the feet don't stay on the floor anymore, let the arms bring them and slowly sink each vertebrae down along the floor. Take a breath in, exhale, legs press away, peel up through each vertebrae, reach the feet to the floor and slowly stack all the way back up to sitting. Great. We're going to come into a few sitting ones here. So forward fold or spine stretch. Bring the arms out. Roll the shoulders back and down. So take a breath in, and as you breathe out, start to hollow through the belly to the navel. Get to the bottom ribs. Reach them back and fold at those bottom ribs. Take an inhale into the back of the rib cage. Keep the belly in. And exhale, stack your way back up through the spine. Do two more of these. Exhaling, hollow, pubic bone to navel. Keep your shoulders down. Really press at the bottom ribs. Inhale to the back of the rib cage and exhale, stack up through each vertebrae. And last one, nice big breath in. Exhale, scoop in and up. Really round into the spine, reach those bottom ribs back and stack your way all the way back up and relax the arms down. Coming into side arcs, if it's comfortable for your legs to go out to the right side, take them out, otherwise a cross or a butterfly. Steady your pelvis, you want it to be still. So cross legs or butterfly legs is fine. Take the arms out to the side. You're going to breathe in, bring the right arm up. And as you exhale, find this connection once again through your torso. Arc over, inhale, lift those ribs to the ceiling. And exhale, up and over to the other side. Feel the pubic bone and the ribs reaching towards each other. Breathe in and exhale, up and over. Do one more each way. Keep your pelvis still, shoulder down away from your ear. Feel the ribs and the pubic bone draw together. Come back over to the right side and we'll come into a twist. Bring the arm down and ribs reach down to hips as you rotate your torso. Unwind slightly and then rotate around again. Hold the navel back. Unwind slightly and one more time. Follow through that navel. Unwind and arc back through to center. So if you're in a cross leg, cross them the other way. If they're out in a Z sit, take them out to the other side. Just steady through the pelvis, make sure there's no tension in the knee. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, bring these ribs in, back over your hip bones, and zip up through to the rib cage. Bring the left arm up, breathe in, and exhale. Arc over, hold that connection, ribs to pelvis. Inhale, and exhale, up and over to the other side. Shoulders stay down, breathe in, and exhale, up and over. Really feel that connection through the abdominals. Bend the elbow of the hand that's on the floor. One more each side. Stretch those ribs to the ceiling. Last one, come over. Bring the arm down as you inhale and exhale. Rotate your torso. Inhale, unwind slightly. Ribs and hips towards each other as you rotate. Unwind. Last one. Feel that navel back towards your spine. And then breathe in, unwind to the side and back through to center, and release your legs out, stretch them out, give them a little bit of a massage through the knees and bounce the legs up and down on the floor. Perfect. We're going to lay down into a short relaxation. So bring the arms out. Feel the back of the thighs press towards the floor and draw the tail under. Really scoop up towards your navel. Keep the ribs in and down towards your hip bones, the back of the thighs press as you slowly bring the spine down. Rest the head, the shoulders, if you like. If you want to release the psoas in the back of the lower back, bend the knees and rest them against each other. Feel the back ribs nestle into the floor and the head resting behind the nose, chin. Just relax gently down. Just pause here for a few nice, long, deep breaths, feeling the sensations through your body. Just allowing your body to absorb all the movement, the breathing. Feel your bones be heavy, your joints relax, and feel your skin become soft. Soften your face. Relax your jawbone and relax your tongue. And then just beginning to breathe more deeply. Breathe down into the belly, let it rise, fill up through the rib cage, and breathe out. Relax through the belly, through the rib cage. Do that one more time. Expand your torso as full and wide as you can, and then breathe it all out. And then bend your knees, roll to the side, bring yourself all the way up to sit. Give your shoulders a little roll, and we'll stand up and do one more roll down. So bringing your heels under your sit bones. Bring your ribs back over your hip bones. Lean forward into the toes. Lean out, zip up, pubic bone to navel, ribs. Reach down towards those hip bones and roll over. Feel each vertebrae as it releases. Keep the hips over the heels. Bend the knees as you need to. To come up, pull the tail down. Lift up, pubic bone to navel. Ribs reach down towards those hip bones. Squeeze in the back of the thighs and stack yourself all the way up. Relax those shoulders back and down. And take a few nice, long, deep breaths.